make it halfway down before I started tearing up. Jeez. Thanks, Gavin.
Appreciate everybody coming today. We'll have Chad kind of start us off with some opening thoughts, and straight over to Coach, and then take it to questions from the media. So, Chad, you can kind of get us going.
Hey, Mom, you can't start crying on me.
Yeah.
You're going to break me.
All right. Good morning. As you all know, we're here today to celebrate the career of John Smith, a legend of a wrestler and coach, and an even more remarkable person. And I know that everyone is here to hear from him, so I'll be as brief as possible. But my role this morning is simply to tell you some of the things that he never would and try to do some bit of justice to this moment for him, for OSU, and for Cowboy Wrestling. Before I start, I'd like to recognize and thank the current members of the wrestling team that are here this morning. I'd also like to thank the former Cowboy wrestlers that are here as well. I think John obviously will recognize a lot of the family, his mom, Tony obviously, but thank you, Tony, for being here and for you and your family sharing John with the OSU family for all these years. And of course, I'd be sorely remiss if I didn't recognize and thank Leroy. As it turns out, Leroy led the way for the Smith family to become lifelong Cowboys. And his legend will long be told without the countless hours of wrestling John in the family living room and then making the decision to himself wrestle at OSU. This story could have been very different. There's a number of our current coaches that are here in the room. I appreciate all of them being here as well. Coach Holder, I think, is here as well. So thank you, everyone, for being here. So where does one start? As a wrestler, he was a two-time NCAA champion, three-time NCAA All-American, three-time conference champion, 1987 outstanding wrestler, and 152 career wins, still a program record. 6 straight world titles, 2 Olympic gold medals, 2 Pan American Game gold medals, 2 Goodwill Games gold medals, 100 international wins. The greatest wrestler of all time. Then, as a coach, his teams had 490 dual wins with 8 perfect dual seasons, 132 conference champions, 23 conference team titles, 153 All-Americans, 33 NCAA champions, 16 top 3 finishes, 21 top 5 finishes, and 5 NCAA team national championships. He is simply a winner. But it is the coach, beyond all the championships and all the All-Americans, that makes John Smith a legend. I rarely, if ever, call him John. He is always Coach or Coach Smith, because I believe the title of coach is one of the most impactful titles anyone can hold, and no one embodied all that title means better than Coach Smith. During his time as the head coach, he has had over 400 young men on his rosters. And as you can imagine, that means there are over 400 stories of how Coach Smith matters in the lives of these men and now their families. And that doesn't begin to count the international teams and the thousands of campers who have been part of John Smith wrestling camps through the years. When you pause and consider the impact, the influence, the significance he has had, it extends so far beyond the mat. He has inspired athletes to reach deeper than they thought possible and truly achieve all they were capable of, even if, or especially if, they didn't know it was possible themselves. in wrestling and in life. The very definition of a coach. And in doing this, he has done the same thing for Cowboy Wrestling, which in turn has set the pace for OSU Athletics, cultivating a culture of excellence that permeates all we strive for today and into the future. So, Coach, thank you for the profound impact you have had on so many people, on your athletes, on Cowboy Wrestling, on Oklahoma State University, your community, your state, and your sport. We are grateful for all you've done and for the ride you have taken us on with you. We're grateful for the things to come with Cowboy Wrestling. You're leaving the program in great shape with a talented roster and a very bright future ahead. And so, now added to the storied tradition of Cowboy Wrestling in the names of Ed Gallagher, Art Griffith, Myron Roderick, your coach Tommy Chespro, is another all-time great, Coach John Smith. And the best thing is you aren't going anywhere. Stillwater is home, and we know you'll continue to be here for all of us, just like you have been since you first arrived over 40 years ago at 17 years old. On behalf of the entire OSU family, thank you.
Yeah.